It's August 1st, 2017, and it's time for another monthly update video. So I'm going to talk about all the cool stuff we've got coming up in August and all the stuff that happened in July. I always like to begin by talking about three big things that I want to put on your radar. So big thing number one, philosophy pop-ups. I'm going to talk more about this in the August portion, but just let me say right here, we're going to use YouTube and Facebook to do some video conferencing. It'll be announced well ahead of time in Patreon, but just the day of the pop-up in the other social media. Big thing number two, we had to put off the SART webinar and seminars, and we will be doing those this month. So if you've ever wanted to understand Jean-Paul Sartre's conceptions of human freedom and responsibility as you find it in Being and Nothingness and some of his other works, you definitely want to be in on those. And the third thing, another holdover from previous months, we're finally going to get that Aristotle categories course finished, polished, out there in the Reason.io Academy. So what went on in the month of July? It was a very busy month, but I didn't get quite as much done, in part because I was preoccupied with a number of other things, some of which were very good and some of which were not so good. So my kids were here, and I love having them here in the summer, but of course that meant that I cut my working time down to about half the normal amount that I would be putting in, which really wouldn't have presented that big of an issue, except for the fact that each of my kids and myself and my wife all got sick at various times over the month of July, some of us more seriously than others. I lost probably a good week or so just on my own account, with a bad sinus infection and other things that went with it, and some of them were sicker yet than me. I also had my laptop, which I've had for a number of years, go kaput. And it took, about 3-4 days of not booting up properly and freezing up and trying this and trying that and trying this and trying that before we finally took it in to the Apple store. Fortunately, we have one nearby, because in the past we've had to drive an hour or two to get to one. And long story short, they ended up having to replace it. They ran a number of diagnostics on it. They were never able to figure out exactly what was wrong with it. So good result. I actually have a new laptop, but I lost 3 weeks where I couldn't get a lot of writing done or course production, because it turns out that I'm incredibly dependent on having a laptop. So that was sort of prelude to what was going on in July. We were going to have a session in the Worlds of Speculative Fiction on Octavia Butler. I had to cancel that due to illness because I got sick. So that is going to be rescheduled for December. And so fans of Butler, you can look forward to that. I did manage to meet for our MKE, that's Milwaukee Stoic Fellowship. I did manage to go to our Shut Up and Write sessions here in the downtown. I did manage to host the online half-hour Hegel and philosophy chat, but I also put off one of the online events until this month, the SART webinars and seminars, again, due to illness. So, not a lot of events during July. And I did have a few other interesting things happen. An interview with the Daily Stoic, that's Ryan Holiday's site, came out, an interview with me. I also had another interview, podcast with the How to Think Like a Thought Leader podcast, Samuel Osborne's site. And so those are pretty fun stuff. I got to do some reflection on my work and what it is that I do. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, you can look for the links below. I did get some writing done before my computer went kaput, and I did get some course building done likewise as well. I did engage in a lot of philosophical counseling, tutoring, and consulting. By the way, if you're interested in tutorials or you're interested in philosophical counseling, you can go to the Reason.io website and check it out. I am taking on new clients, particularly as we head into the fall. You can also email me directly at greg@reasonio.com. Videos. I shot quite a few videos. Not having the laptop did not turn out to be an impediment for that, because I do most of my video editing, up here in my study on this big Mac that I'm recording on right now. So I shot a number of core concept videos on a very important work by Martin Heidegger. A lot of people have been watching those and enjoying those. I'm very pleased to see that. That is What is Metaphysics. I also shot some core concept videos specifically on Hegel leading into the master-slave dialectic, and I released those early for my half-hour Hegel Patreon supporters. If you're interested in that, you can see the link to that below. I've started releasing them just yesterday, so you can see where those are going. My half-hour Hegel project, we got through the entirety of the first section of Spirit, finishing up with legal status. That's, again, the half-hour Hegel supporters get to see those several weeks before the general public does, but those will be coming out this month, so you can see them. And I even did, out of, I suppose, frustration, a personal video about the laptop issue and how dependent I am on the laptop. So that was July. What have we got coming up in the month of August? So it's going to be an extraordinarily busy month because I'm doing a bit of catch-up and I have a lot of other projects ongoing, a lot of cool stuff, so I'm really excited about this, and I'm feeling good heading into the month. I've started working out regularly. We're doing some fun stuff. Now that the kids are gone, it's a lot easier to not be cooking on the fly and to put some real thought into all of that. So what do you guys want to know about? I imagine that you're probably interested to hear about the philosophy pop-ups. And this is something that we're going to start experimenting with. We're going to use YouTube Live, and we're going to use Facebook, same sort of thing, to do some streaming where I'll do a very short presentation on something that I've been working on recently, like, say, the Heidegger videos, and then I'll open it up for questions, and I'll chat with fans and subscribers and viewers for maybe about half an hour or so. And then it'll be recorded, and it'll go in, and you can watch it later if you missed it. And if this turns out to be something that people like, well, then we'll continue it. And we may even start doing some in-person philosophy pop-ups down the line. But I'm not going to talk about that yet. When are they going to be? Well, this is an incentive to become a Patreon supporter, even at the $1 per month level, because I will be announcing it to them today or tomorrow when these pop-ups are going to be. And for everybody else, I will be announcing them the day of the pop-up in my social media, so that you can jump in and participate in them. So that's, there's no fixed date. Well, there are fixed dates for them, but we'll tell you what they are later on. Today, I have, for anybody who's local, a presentation on Thomas Hobbes, the English Civil War, and the beginnings of modern political theory, part of this Philosophers in the Midst of History series that I've been doing with the Frank Weinberg Library. That is at 6 p.m. here in Mequon at the Frank Weinberg, like I said. On the 8th, which is a week from today, at 5 p.m. we'll have our public half-hour Hegel discussion and Q&A session. So if you have any questions, confusions, concerns about Hegel, the phenomenology, German idealism, other things connected to that, or you just want to hear other people chat about that sort of thing, you want to come to it. 5 p.m. Central Time. And I put the link. We use our Reason.io freeconferencecall.com for that. On the 10th, here locally, as part of the Worlds of Speculative Fiction series, I have a really big lecture coming up that I have been anticipating the entire year because he's one of my favorite authors. I've been reading him since I was a kid, H.P. Lovecraft. I'll be talking about the universe, the narrative universe that H.P. Lovecraft develops for us, and hopefully we'll have a lot of great discussion. There may be people showing up who are like, I don't know what the hell this guy is talking about, so I may be doing some explanation as well. Shifting forward deeper into the month, on the 22nd, that's a Tuesday, at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, we will be having our webinar, our free webinar, Jean-Paul Sartre on human freedom and responsibility. That's open to anybody. Lasts 45 minutes. I reserve a good bit of it for question and answer. And we'll, of course, if you miss it, I'll put it online so you can watch it later. The 24th, which is a Thursday, 6 p.m. at the Shorewood Public Library, we have our monthly MKE Stoic Fellowship meeting. And we're going to be finishing up with the Enchiridion and talking about where we want to go next for September and what we want to do during Stoic Week in October. So that's going to be a really important meeting. And then finally wrapping up on the 26th, which is a Saturday, we will have our two, not quite back-to-back, there's a bit of time in between them, 10 a.m., 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, online intensive seminars, each of them lasting 2 hours on Jean-Paul Sartre, freedom and responsibility, doing a much deeper dive into the material than we do in the free webinar. So if you're interested in that, you want to sign up for a slot, that is going to be a really, really great set of events. What else have I got going on? A lot of writing projects this month. I didn't get any real blogging done last month, in part because I didn't have my laptop for 3/4 of the month. But I am going to be doing quite a lot of blog writing this month. I did stay on top of Stoicism Today, which I'm the editor of, and I will be, doing work with that as well. But I'm also going to be writing in Partially Examined Life, Erexis Dianoetike, Half Hour Hegel, Heavy Metal Philosopher, perhaps a few other venues as well. And I'm doing some intensive writing on several book projects. I had one which was pitched to me, which I think is a great idea, and we're in the development stage for that. I'll tell you more about that down the line. But I'm also working very heavily on the Stoicism and What Does In Accordance with Nature short book. I'm doing a little bit of chipping away at the Anger and Stoicism book, and I'm doing some collaborative writing with some other people about interesting topics in Stoicism as well. I'm anticipating a lot of philosophical counseling, consulting, and tutoring this month. Like I said, I do have openings, so if you're interested in that sort of thing, reach out to me directly. Just email me, greg@reasonio.com, or go to the Reason.io website where you can see the services that I offer and whether they're the sort of thing that you'd be interested in. Videos. So this month I'm going to try to get my half-hour Hegel work done fairly early and maybe even get a little bit ahead on that as we move into this new section of Spirit. I'll also be recording the event videos, so the Thomas Hobbes, the H.P. Lovecraft, and then the Sartre webinar. But I'm also going to be working on a lot of core concept videos. So I'm still shooting Hegel core concept, leading up to the master-slave dialectic. I will be shooting more Heidegger stuff from Being and Time, the introduction to Being and Time. I know a lot of people are very excited about that. Hoping to shoot some Nietzsche material towards the end of the month. I'm not quite sure whether it's going to be from Genealogy or Birth of Tragedy, or perhaps some of the shorter essays, or perhaps some of the other works. I have to figure that out. And if I have the time, I do want to shoot some core concept video footage on Gabriel Marcel. There's some interesting topics in there that some of my clients have been asking about, so I thought it'd be kind of cool for them. I'm also starting something new that you can look forward to. Actually, two new things. One of them is that I'm going to start reviewing books, and I'm interested primarily in reviewing books that have to do with using philosophy in our lives. So, I've got quite a stock of books people have been sending me. I'll be doing reviews in Goodreads and Amazon as well, but I want to start doing some video reviews and talking about books that I think are very interesting, but I'll be using sort of a critical perspective. I'm not just going to be cheerleading for these books. I'll be talking about what I think is good and what's not so good in them. The other thing I'm going to do is I've decided that we want to have a series called Sadler's Soapbox. And if you know what a traditional soapbox is, it's the thing that in a crowd on a street, the person who wanted to, say a few things would stand on top of and then start their rant or their diatribe or their critique or whatever. And I have quite a few things that I have been wanting to talk about for a while, and I think that would be a great format for that. So stay tuned for some of those this month. I'll also be shooting a few personal videos. I've been reflecting a lot about a few things as I spent time particularly with the kids over the summer. So that's something to look forward to as well. Hope that you have a great month of August. We're lined up, knock on wood, to have a great month ourselves, very productive. I hope that you have a great time. Oh, last thing that I'll mention, it's my birthday also this month. So be turning 47, kind of it's not a milestone, but hopefully, that'll be the ushering in a great new year. And I hope that you have a great month, and I'll see you in the ether somewhere.